Isn't working, right? I have been listening for a while, and what I was to talk about was how does upbringing affect a girl child's leadership? Now, before I go any further, let me give you a little background on myself. I have led a pretty privileged life, right? I do not think I have gone through the kind of trials and tribulations people talk about, and I acknowledge that. I'm thankful to my parents and the society that I was born in. My mother obviously had that struggle when she decided I must study law. Her mother must have had that struggle, my nani, when she had to study only till the 5th standard. Right? So it's a progression. I was very lucky. But I do understand that upbringing really has an effect. And I've been thinking about what is the kind of effect that upbringing brings. Any ideas? Oh, I'm a trainer by profession, right? So there will be some questions I'm going to ask you. And like I said, you're really lucky I don't have a presentation. So hopefully I'll not talk for too long. Right? Any ideas on how upbringing impacts a girl child's leadership? Okay. So your upbringing shapes and molds your thoughts. Absolutely. The one thing that we must realize is that we are all part of an ecosystem, right? We are part of society. And I've been thinking about this because even in the most quote-unquote progressive families, right, we teach our daughters and sons different things. Have you noticed that? Let's talk about my generation. So we're now middle-aged. We're no longer the young. How many of us as girls were taught to drive because our parents felt कि driving आनी चाहिए, right? That will make us self-reliant. Yeah? How many of us, our fathers were very, they really gave it the best they could that my daughter should be self-reliant. उसको पढ़ना चाहिए. Okay. How many of them put in the same effort on their sons and said कि खाना बनाना तो सीखना ही चाहिए ना? Yeah, so your brothers are really good cooks? Okay, they can cook. How many of them were said कि if there's no help at home, he will do it? You know, the fact is, like I said, even in our most progressive families, we have this distinction that's still persisting. One of my friends said, you know what? I think we guys made a mistake. I said, why? She and I are not good cooks. In fact, I definitely told my mother, I'm not learning how to cook. Right? अब जब आएगा ही नहीं तो करोगे कैसे? How can anybody expect you to cook if you don't know how to cook? So I'm not learning. She said, you know, we made a mistake. I said, why do you say that? She said, just like driving is a life skill, cooking is a life skill. And both you and I have sons and daughters. We must ensure that they both can do both. Absolutely. So I think that there is this distinction that we as parents forget society, but we are all, part of a society, are putting in. This pressure is tremendous on girls. I'm sure it's a lot on boys also, but since today we're talking about girls, I'm going to go that route. There's this prescription on how women should look. Has anybody noticed how women should look? Media tells you how you should look, right? Your society tells you how you should look. In fact, one of the most tragic things I read recently is there's this model who went through many, many plastic surgeries to look like a real-life Barbie. Yeah? Obviously, the message that you get is that how you look is more important than what you do, how you are, what you think. This is a very strong message. It doesn't stop when you become more successful. I was observing the American presidential elections. How much comment was there on Hillary Clinton's pantsuits, her hairstyle, right, her voice? She has a shrill voice, she has a this voice, she has a that voice. Does any one of us know what her policies were? We just know that she was a woman, she wore pantsuits, right? And she got herself a softer haircut so she doesn't look as shrill. So media plays a very big role, right? I've been thinking as to, when I look at my life, I realize that you get these subtle messages. And one of these very subtle messages is that if you speak up as a woman, you're bossy, right? So boys are assertive, girls are bossy. I've heard it so many times, right? It comes in different flavors. I've heard it as, अपने आप को बहुत समझती है. अरे हम अपने आप को नहीं समझेंगे बहुत तो लोग कैसे समझेंगे? Right? But I've heard that. I've heard when you tell people what you think, they're like, so it is there. Now what can we do about it? Because that's the most critical thing. Today we've had a lot of conversation. People have shared their journeys. I think we must thank Talise for putting together this fantastic forum. Where is Talise? Yeah, he's a busy man. He's always a busy man. But Talise has put together this fantastic forum where people have been able to express themselves, share, inspire. But the critical thing still is, what is the way forward? Yeah? So we've come a long way, individually also, as a society, but what's the way forward? Any ideas? What can we do from now on? Okay? I love that idea, making a difference. How should we make a difference? Okay, so let's take a step, let's practice what we preach. Any suggestions of how we practice what we preach? Okay, yes, we have a very, very big duty towards society, and that is, let's teach our sons something, right? Let them not feel that privileged, that entitled. Let them, in fact, let them be in touch with their humanity, right? I have a 10-year-old son, and you will be surprised that they are a lot more clued on than our generation. You know, schools are doing so much work in this area. My son came back and said, you know what? They did a session on gender, right? He says, you know, people of your generation are gender biased. But we, not so. I said, Acha. And because their minds are thinking. We went and saw this movie, Mowgli, kisme tha? Jungle Book. And he came back and he said, why are they calling him man cub? Why not human cub? I know I sat through that story, it didn't come in my mind. I have understood it's a man cub. So they are new minds, they're thinking, they're questioning. So yes, we have work with our sons. Do we have work with our daughters? Yeah? Suggest what can we do with our daughters? So what does that grooming entail? You see what's happened, let me put it like this. 2 generations ago, women were groomed fantastically for what they would face, right? They were taught how to cook, clean, and be a perfect wife. Now the problem has happened that now we don't know what to groom them for. So I think there's a role for educators also here, for us as mothers. And I think one of the biggest roles, which nobody has mentioned here, is that we have a role towards ourselves. Believe it, we might be more biased than we think we are. We need to look at every of our, basically what I'm trying to say is we need to look at our own thoughts and reevaluate them. See what would work best for a society of both men and women, right? Let's see how we can make it better for both of them. And like, as a mother who has a son and a daughter, I do want an equal world. I want both of them to be able to prosper. That's, I think, the desire of all mothers. Am I right? With this, I think what I want to leave everybody the idea with before we end is that we need to start looking forward. We need to use all the ammunition that we have got today from all the speakers, all the stories, all the networking that happened, and use it as in what will I do that will make a difference. And let's not get discouraged. A lot of people I talked to were saying, they're doing so much, but it's not even a drop in the ocean. You know what? It doesn't matter. If you can impact one more person, it's good enough, right? And with this, I hand you back.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to India's first corporate news channel. We invite interviews, articles, press releases from your organization. Visit our portal www.indianconventions.com. Thank you.